Child custody, hey, can it affect where you live, whether or not you can move? Well, it takes us to this week's case. It involves a real couple in Michigan. And while it involves a real couple, their names were not revealed in the case, and we'll call them, for the purposes of this video blog, Jim and Ann. Well, Jim and Ann lived together for some years, and they gave birth to a child. They continued living together until the child reached about age 1.5. At that point in time, they decided to split. And when they split, they got into a little bit of a hassle with regard to who had custody of the child and who would have visiting rights of the child. Well, that took them to court, and there was a decree entered in which basically there was custodial rights given only to the mother of the child. When I say only to, she was the sole custodial parent. But father of the child was still instrumental in raising the child because he was allowed visitation on a weekly basis. There would be allowed weekend sleepovers and various other things in which he would visit and sometimes take custody of the child for holidays. So mother said, okay, fine, we're rolling along and this is going okay, but then found that she got a very decent job offer in Florida. Well, Florida's a long way from Michigan, and she said, I want to move to Florida, and proceeded to start doing so. Father of the child said, wait a second, that's going to screw up the whole custody arrangement we have because I'm not going to be able to see the child on a weekly basis. You're going to be down there in Florida, and therefore I object to this. Well, they wound up back in court. And back in court, the judge looked at things and once again tried to determine what would be best for the interests of the child and said basically, well, Mom, you have a much better job. Your living standard is going to be improved living in Florida. Therefore, I find that it would be okay for you to move to Florida. Father objected to this and appealed it to a Michigan Court of Appeals. And up there, the Court of Appeals listened. And they listened to the arguments of the father, who was saying, this is going to upset the custodial environment, the way in which we have been raising this child, since I'm not going to be having an opportunity to see the child on a weekly basis as I previously had, and that's going to have a detrimental impact upon my relationship with my child. Mom said, hey, things are going to be much improved. I have almost doubled my salary. Things are going to be looking up for both of us. I'm going to be able to provide more for the child, and overall our standard of living will be better and the child will be better off. Well, the appellate court listened to these arguments and said, you know what, when there is a significant change in the custodial environment of a child, well, that needs to be carefully analyzed by the court, and that would be the trial court. They said in this case the court did do an analysis of that, but we find that the trial court did not do a good enough analysis of it, and we're sending it back down to the trial court for a determination as to whether this truly will be in the best interest of the child and whether this will in fact be a good custodial environment, or whether this will disrupt the custodial environment such that the child's interest, even though he'll be in a better environment, more income coming in, will be in reality made worse. Okay, so that's what happened. So what do we learn from this case? What we learn from this case is an important thing. If nothing else, we learn that when you are involved in custody of a child, you've got a third party involved in it. It's not just you, not just your ex or the person who was the other parent of that child. You've got a judge involved with that. And that judge can make determinations that can determine where you live, whether you can move, and what's going to be in your best interests. Okay, well, we bring you this case, we bring cases every week so you understand how the law works. I'm David Allen.